5:59 on my
Yes, sir.
phone. It's 6 o'clock, Dr. Lucas, so we have a quorum, so I will call to order this meeting in Lordsburg Municipal Schools regular board meeting, September 21st, 2020. Welcome, everyone. We all stand, please, and say the pledges with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the
of the United States of America and to the
republic
republic
for which it stands,
stands
one nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
and justice
with
for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, be a symbol of
perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. Again, welcome. Just a reminder, only the items on the agenda will be discussed tonight. And I will poll each member every time we're going to take a vote, okay? And recognize yourself when you're going to say something, please. I saw that Ms. Esquivel is there. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So just for the record, I believe that the only one's not present is Mr. Gomez, Edgar Gomez. Maybe he'll log in a few minutes. Just for the record, put that down, please. Okay. First item to be taken care of is approval of the agenda as written. Is there a motion to accept and approve this agenda as written?
This is Susie. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Cole. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion. Esquivel.
Second by Ms. Esquivel. Thank you. Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Ms. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Esquivel?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of August 17th, 2020. If there's any questions, go ahead and ask Dr. Lucas. If not, I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of August 17th, 2020 as written.
This is Susie. I'll make that motion to approve the minutes of August 17th as written.
Motion by Ms. Cole. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion. Esquivel.
Second by Ms. Esquivel. Did I see Edgar log in? Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Welcome. Ms. Esquivel?
Aye.
Ms. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. Number 4, reports, administrative reports. Dr. Lucas?
Yes, we'll start with student counts. And so as of today, we had 459 students. That breaks down to the high school, 124, DTMS 77, Central 66, and RVT 192. And that is a few above projection as to what, because our 40-day count's coming up, and we're a little bit ahead of what we had projected budget-wise.
Good.
That's awesome. Any questions on the student counts?
How did we go up? Did kids move here or what? I mean, what happened?
Well, no, just the projection, like by the number of kids. So I guess we've had some move in or register that weren't in district before.
Okay.
We'll probably be losing 4 that have moved out of country, but they're still enrolled as of today, but tomorrow they'll probably drop by 4.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas. Operations number 2.
Any questions for Brian on the operations report?
No, sir.
I have no questions. Any other board member have questions or statements to make?
I don't.
No, sir.
Go ahead. Building reports.
Okay, we can start with RVT.
Okay, well, I changed up the report. I hope not everybody minds, but I want to thank the parents and the community for letting us into their households. So I wanted to start off with that. I think that's important, and so their parents are really involved in their kids' education right now, and we couldn't ask for anything more from them and grandparents and any guardians that are helping out. So what we have right here is North Stars: relationships, responsibility, rigor, and relevance. And that's really what we're going to focus on, establishing relationships. I'm not going to read everything to you, but our goal has been to address issues immediately. I think we've done a really good job of that. We're customer service right now, so we're making sure that we're hitting, we're monitoring everything, communication from teachers to students and parents and to the school. And so I think we've done a really good job with that. We are working with the School for the Deaf right now, really closely to assist us with addressing points of resources for one of our parents and staff. So that's our big task right now. Responsibility, I feel that our debt due to our students is education, right? So teachers are turning in weekly call logs. We're always looking for online resources to master the craft of teaching. So communication is a key. If we're asking everybody, if they run up on something, just call us and ask us so we can help them out. And if we can't, we'll direct them to someone that can. And so, I feel that all the community wants from us is the best, and I just want our staff to give the best that they have. Rigor, I know that was one of the things that came up when we went virtual. Academic rigor is key to growth. And so we're looking at how we assess students, how we use that information and that data to make teaching better and make the learning environment better. So we're not just collecting numbers and data points. We want to see how we're going to make teaching better and really be strategic and tactful on how we're collecting data and using that data to inform teaching and learning. Really, we're going to focus on IEPs using SMART goals. And so we're bringing that back in and making sure we're being very strategic. The last point right there is relevance. And really, what we're doing at RVT, how is it relevant to the kids in 5 years or 10 years, right? With the technological integration, just going digital, one of the things that I've caught going into classes is the students are teaching students how to use and facilitate the Google Classroom. I've seen a lot of that go on. And so when we have students teaching each other, we're doing the right things. And so that was one of the points I wanted to highlight. Second to that, there's no more old school teacher. We've had several Google trainings, and I think the teachers at RVT have done a good job. If you can imagine, on Friday, they only had to choose one of the trainings for Google. And I think more than half of my staff went to every training. And so it was really awesome to see that and to hear their feedback live going on. So we have a lot of good things going on in spite of the closure, but I think that the community is going to benefit really well from it. Does anybody have any questions?
I do, sir. This is Morelos. I'm wondering about IEPs, not just at your place, but at Central and DTMS and high school. How are those going? Pretty good? Or who participates in the IEPs and who's running the meetings?
So I'll give you kind of if it's okay, at least at RVT, we do have some of our students coming onto campus to receive services. Right. Our IEPs, we're making sure that we are available and accessible to the parents. They are happening virtually. And so we've made sure that we're accomplishing that with enough time and information for the parents while maintaining the due dates for IEPs. So I don't think we've run into anything yet other than maybe connectivity issues, but for the most part, I think all of our IEPs are to date.
And that's including the ancillary people and whoever else is involved with that one particular student?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your info. Anybody else have any comments or questions or statements? If not,
No.
we'll move on. Thank you.
Okay, Ralph. We'll go with Central and DTMS.
Yes, sir. Good evening to all of you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you. We, to answer that question right away, to follow up on Dr. Amador, we're also doing the same thing, Mr. Morelos, as far as IEPs. Ancillary people are involved. We are including all the required members for an IEP to run that IEP. That includes Ms. Pelayo, and then all ancillary people, principal, parents, everyone that needs to be part of that. The case manager, the SPED teacher, but also a regular ed teacher.
Good.
So they are
Thank
all
you.
there, and we're on course as well to meet all the requirements. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking. As far as what's going on at CES, DTMS, because of the remote learning, some of the things have changed, some of the dynamics have changed. And so we're just collaborating and sharing better ways to teach remotely. And so I offered some tips there and just some things that I'm having teachers look at and follow through on. For example, just checking in with students on a regular basis, calling them, emailing, however that may be, that's part of it. Also, because students are isolated, so are a lot of our teachers. And so I'm encouraging them to work together to steal as much as they can from each other to become better teachers. And that's just something I learned when I was doing my student teaching, some advice from my cooperating teacher, but taking that and applying it to your situation. And so the collaboration piece needs to be there, not only with the community, students and staff, but with each other as well. Also keeping in contact with the community and just communication. And that's an area for growth, in my opinion, at my school, but we are working on it. We're going to improve on that. And I'll have a little more to say as I go on. One of the things that we've learned, because we are being invited into the homes, is classroom management is different. It's totally different than the way we would manage a classroom at school. And so we have to be conscious of that we are being invited into the community homes, into our parents' homes. And so there's just a different way of operating, but it's all good because it's going to make us better teachers as we move down the road. And so I tell teachers, keep that in mind as you're offering instruction. To stand in contact with the community again and just following up and making sure that kids are getting the required services that they deserve. So things are going well as far as remote instruction and learning is going on. I also want to offer a little bit more about the remote learning. I made the decision to have my teachers write a syllabus for each course that they teach. And basically all of our expectations are put there in black and white. There are several different components, but one thing that we overlooked, and I'm going to require that as we edit it and offer it again for the second semester, we need to look at teacher expectations of students within the classroom at home. And so we need to offer that to students and go through it again and make sure that our students understand our expectations for instructions when they're in the home setting, because even though they are at home, they are in class. And so we need to do a little bit better job of that and be more consistent with that. So that's something we're working on. I'm actually researching that. I'll offer some help to my staff at a later date. The use of Google Suite, that has been a tremendous help, and we've all become better teachers as a result. So there is a plus to this pandemic for our staff. I think district-wide, we're going to be much better teachers, and that's going to allow us to expand and just continue to improve. And then last but not least, I think that an area for growth at our school is just better communication. So we're working on that, but through Google Suite, we have a lot of tools to do that. Gmail and Google Voice and all the other options that Google Suite allows us. We have the tools to do it. We just have to follow through and get that done. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
I like the way you talk about communication, Mr. A. I appreciate it. I think communication is one of the best things that anybody could have with each other. amongst, not just amongst your teachers and your staff, but amongst us as board members also. I appreciate that comment there on communication for growth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. A? If not, we can move on, sir.
Okay, Lordsburg High School, Scott?
All right. Good evening, everyone. Hope everybody's staying safe. So for us right now, we've continued meeting with the parents every 2 weeks. We have Google Meets on Mondays and Tuesdays with the senior, juniors, and the freshmen, sophomores on different days. And I meet with each class parents, the 12th grade parents, 11th grade parents separately. So we've been doing that since we've started school. So that's working real well. Not a lot of participation, but we have some participation, which is good. We're with our academics and with school right now, online learning, we're continually having conversations about moving slow and steady. We don't know, we're still figuring out how much is too much and how much is too little. With the work we're giving our students, it's a different way of teaching, of doing homework, and the same with our teachers. So we're continually talking about that. We're communicating with parents about attendance, tardies, grades, etc. As Mr. Almazar was talking about, and also Dr. Amador, that's one of the things that we really want to improve on is that communication with our parents and that relationship that we have with our parents, teachers and parents. So we're working on that as well. With the internet right now, everything's been working pretty well. Sometimes we still have glitches. Sometimes people are still having issues logging on. Sometimes in the afternoon, it still seems like it lags a little bit more than it does in the morning. But I want to commend the parents and the students for doing a great job of contacting us as soon as possible. We had some issues where, students weren't able to log on first, second period, just say, and then they would call us third or fourth period, say, I missed first and second because of this. But we've addressed that, and we've, talked with parents and students, and now that's improved a whole bunch, where as soon as kids are having issues, they, call the school, call me, do whatever they can to get a hold of us, so we know, so we don't count them absent and tardy and things like that. So that communication is improved. We have begun tutoring after school at 4 o'clock to help students. As of right now, I know there's a couple teachers that are offering tutoring right now. Other teachers are preparing and deciding how they can do it or how they're going to make that work. So once we get that rolling, that's going to help support our students. I know it's more time, online or in front of the screen, but for the students that need it, if they want to reach out, that's an opportunity. Teachers are doing a great job working and sharing with each other about the Google Classroom. Some know more than others, so everybody's willing to share. And then just this past week, we did have some good professional development with Carrie Amador, with the Google Classroom, the Google Suite, and then the RAC was, talked about the best practices. And so that was real helpful. We've completed our first virtual walkthrough observation with our teachers for frontline. So that went well. Just checking in with teachers online, doing your observations. It's different, but it's doable. Teachers are still working on recording lessons for students to review. We're always having a conversation about what lessons for sure that need to be recorded. Maybe not all lessons need to be recorded. We kind of discussed math, some science lessons, English lessons are probably our priority. And maybe some of the other lessons, if it feels it'll benefit the student to be able to look back on the lesson to get the, get what the teacher was discussing for that day. So we're just continue working forward, and everybody's, you know, just working well together, and we're just doing the best we can, and everything's working okay. And we'll just continue trying to find ways to improve. So thank you. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Roberson? I have one, sir, just a short one. How's the participation with the student tutoring at you know, after 4 o'clock, sir?
It's not a big deal right now. I mean, we don't have a lot of participation, but we do have students reaching out for math. You know, more math than anything, just because of the concepts.
Right.
Maybe 2 or 3 students. You know, the thing about that tutoring is, you know, I mean, you know, teachers are off the clock at 4, but I know,
Right.
you know, throughout all the schools, you you hear teachers talking about checking emails and answering things at 7, 8 o'clock at night, you know, just kind of reaching out to kids that are still working on homework. So,
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Mr. Roberson?
I had one, Mr. Morelos.
Go ahead, Mr. Barrera.
I love this ability to record these lectures. I think that's been this issue that parents have currently, you know, had.
Yeah.
I would like to see that universally applied across the board. But I did have a question more for Dr. Lucas. There was a time when we were concerned about it being recorded, the classes. I guess lawyers were concerned about it. I was just curious as to what's
Right, and
changed.
it wasn't so much, first, you know, the students, although, you know, we have to double check and make sure that they have not opted out of being able to have photos or video shared of them.
Okay.
And also, just some things that they were concerned about from, you know, like and I think some of it's been happening a little bit but it's not even happening from recordings, it's happening during live, you know, if somebody records on the cell phone and then puts it out online, they can edit it or make the teacher appear to say something they didn't say.
Okay.
That was their only concern.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I think it's an awesome idea, though. Thank you, Mr. Roberson.
Yes, and I think as we get going, teachers will see it's much more to their advantage to do it than to not.
I agree, and I think it was Mr. Almanzar had in his report about shortening lessons. I think that might be able to, we might be able to overcome a little bit of that, you know, if we could get more in those recorded lectures so that they could keep on going back to them.
Right.
If they do have that ability to or opportunity to,
Yeah.
I guess.
Good point, Mr. Barrera. Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll move on, Dr. Lucas.
Okay. Coach Hooper was sick today, but if you have any questions on the athletics report, I know volleyball's practicing right now. Powerlifting's October 5th will start up. And volleyball practices are just in groups of 5, you know, they're small pods. I think NMAA is up like football, and they can start going up to 9 maybe. There was some changes, but starting October 5, we'll go with the changes.
I have a little concern with the powerlifting. Is there going to be enough supervision there, Dr. Lucas?
Yeah, it'll be Alvarez and Hooper as the coaches, and they won't be any practice or anything unless they're there.
Okay. And the number of athletes, there will be like 5 also, 5 or 6 or what?
Yes, it'll be the number that NMAA says we can do at a time. So it would be, so like right now you could have 10, you know, one group of 5 with one coach and another group of 5 with another coach.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions on the athletic report? If not, we'll move on, sir.
Okay. And the last one is truancy. And not much. This was just from August, but we've already had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've already had about 14 letters sent out to parents, several phone calls. We've reported some to CYFD for not showing or not registering anywhere else. You know, we've had no request for record. So, you know, it's been busy, but we'll keep on top of it. And
good.
we're being trying to be as fair as we can in the current situation as far as truancies. You know, if they can log on or let us know, you know, we count them present if we can get in contact with them and they're logging on at least.
Any questions on the truancy report?
Can you expand a little bit on that a little bit more, Dr. Lucas? I guess, you know, for example, if they miss 3 classes of the day but log on to 5 classes, are they still counted present or?
Well, so depending upon the reasoning, I mean, if they have internet troubles or they have scheduling conflicts and parents have talked to the principal, then if they just log into 1 period a day, they'll be counted present for that day, especially at the elementary. But if they're just calling in, well, I don't feel like going this afternoon, then they're going to be counted absent.
Okay.
You know, if it's a legitimate, you know, their internet went out or, you know, for some reason they couldn't log on, then they'll be counted present, but not just for anything.
Okay, and in relation to, I guess, last year's August reports, I mean, where are we at? Like, I mean, I counted 18. I just want to, like, in last August, do you know the numbers by chance?
No, I do not. I don't have those in front of me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.
Good points. Any other questions? Thank you. We can move on. Public forum and a number 6, Dr. Lucas, Board of Education issues.
Right. Our meeting, all this started, we were supposed to host this meeting last fall or last spring, if you remember, the Region 8 spring meeting. So they're having a virtual fall meeting tomorrow, September 22nd. It runs from 5 to 7. I know Joe Guillen has sent y'all Zoom links. If you need a Zoom link, email me if you can't find yours and I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
I know the Secretary of Education will be speaking the first 45 minutes or so. And then it's elections for the region.
We'll get our credit hours, right? For
Yes, and I think 2 credit hours.
Yeah. Okay. And it starts at what time you said?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5
Okay.
to 7. In the email Joe sent, there's a link to the agenda,
Right.
so you can access the agenda there.
Okay. Any questions on this from the board? If you can't try and log on, I know I will. Thank you.
Oh, and Rosa included an agenda in your packet, so you don't even, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Didn't see that, sorry.
Yes, there it is. Yeah, I see it. Number 7, consent agenda, approval of accounts payable and payroll liability transactions. Any questions for Dr. Lucas on this? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve accounts payable and payroll liability transactions as written.
This is Susie. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Cole. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion. Esquivel.
Second by Ms. Esquivel. Thank you. Mr. Gomez.
Aye.
Ms. Esquivel.
Aye.
Ms. Cole.
Aye.
Mr. Barrera.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Motion carries. Approval of budget adjustments request, Dr. Lucas.
So we have 2 today. The first one is a reduction of $14,213 in transportation. The state just readjusted our allocation because of school not starting and being remote, so the buses weren't running, so they reduced that amount. We've taken it out of gasoline in our current budget.
Okay.
And that was for $14,213 reduction. And then the second one was an increase, it was of $3,486, and it was from our library and audiovisual fund, and it was carryover basically from last year.
Any questions, comments? If not, I'll accept the motion to approve a budget adjustment request as written.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion, Esquivel.
Second by Mrs. Esquivel. Thank you. Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Ms. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Esquivel?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Motion carries. Number 8, discussion items. Dr. Lucas.
Right, so the first one's just the discussion on the remote learning. We said we'd discuss it every month. And I've emailed y'all the guidelines for reentry that PED has put out for when we do decide to come back. We have, and it was in Ryan's operation report, but they put some requirements for MERV 13 filters, air filtration for our air conditioning system. Teachers will have to be, 5% of the teachers will have to be surveillance testing is what they call it. And several other requirements. We have, Edgar, did on the masks, the cotton mask from the gentleman that you were gonna, the nonprofit, any word on that, Edgar?
No, sir. I literally email him every week and he just keeps telling me the same thing, that they're just very far behind.
Okay, because we have to have a certain number of masks, cloth masks per person. We've started trickling in, a disposable mask. We've got some N95 masks in. We've got our gowns in because it is a requirement that, teachers that work in close proximity, like closer than 3 feet, have to have an N95 mask and then a gown if they're working closely with students, say, that need, to be wiped down or anything, touching of any type. So they're required an N95. We've got that in stock. We've got disposable masks in stock, but not enough to support a complete reopening. But they are starting to trickle in.
Any questions or comments on this from the board?
About how many masks are we missing? Do you think that we're lacking of the reusable ones?
Well, so right now we don't have any cloth mask. Everything we've been getting has been disposable. So they want at least 2 masks per student, I believe. I'd have to go back and double check. So that's 900 masks. Cloth masks that we would need. And we have CARES monies that we can use to purchase them. And if we don't hear anything back from him soon, we can go on and go that direction to start ordering those.
Maybe we can all
Go ahead.
put out our fillers and see if we can't find somebody that can help us out, maybe.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
try.
I've been trying, Susie, to get these for our care boxes that we're starting to put together, but it just seems that some of these nonprofits that we were going with, they're just too far behind with orders, so they're setting us behind a little bit. But on the disposable masks, I'm not sure how much we're missing, but I could help with a donation from those from the Hampton if we need them immediately.
Yeah, no, it's not immediately. We're all right for now. And if we continue with the timeline of coming back in person by January, we will have the items in stock that we need.
I know there's a parent here in town that makes them, so I thought maybe I could touch base with that parent and see if maybe if we got them some material, if she could maybe start making some.
Yeah.
It would be a start.
Okay. I know at one time RVT had put out, and the nurse was wanting to get the, like a sewing, almost like a sewing bee, but there was a lot of negative comments that we pulled it because it seemed like the community didn't necessarily want that, at least the response from Facebook.
And does the school, that was a comment that a parent made right now. Does the school have to provide them, or can the kids have them, or do we have to have them on hand?
And that's kind of, I don't want to say anything about PED, but at first they told us we can require the students to bring their own masks. Now they're saying we have to have at least 2 masks per student.
Available just in case.
Yes.
Okay. I think that'll probably answer her question.
I think there was another comment in there touching base on your RVT Facebook post that was put out months ago.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't about that, but it was about why hasn't the community been asked to donate? So maybe we could put out another filler and see if they're willing to do so.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Okay, this is Morelos. Dr. Lucas, you
Uh-huh.
mentioned there's money for the cloth masks, right?
Well, there's money in the CARES funds. You know, we're using that money to pay for internet right now. That's our biggest expense. And then we
Okay.
bought some technology, but there is money in that fund to buy the masks.
So we would be in dire need for some masks. We could order through that budget.
Right. I was just waiting. We've held off on ordering because I was hoping
Okay.
we could get them from the nonprofit in Las Cruces
Okay.
and help them and make a donation to them rather than going out to a for-profit company and buying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments?
This
Sir,
is Esquivel. What's the timeline that we need these masks? Is it before January or?
Yes, before January.
Okay,
But
I think if we don't have them within like November, I think we should go ahead and just order them out of our
Yes.
funds.
Yes, ma'am.
Good point. Anything else? Go ahead, Dr. Lucas B.
Okay, we have Regina
Dr.
with
Lucas.
us from RBC, and it's coming up time if we want to do a bond election next year to start thinking about that. We had discussed at one time like refurbishing Central to an auditorium. I think we have about 1.8 to 2 million we could go out for. Ryan is checking with Facility Bill to get a rough estimate to see if that would be enough to do that. We're also going to be needing a roof at DTMS, I believe. So we need to act. If we want to do a February where we do the general mail out or do a mail out special election, if you remember last time we had to do that, that cost us about $10,000 or so.
Yeah, that was expensive.
Right. But then we know right away if it's going to pass or not, or you can do it in the November election and it doesn't cost us anything. And we can still go back out after that if we need to, you know, if it failed in November after a certain amount of time. Can you give us a little of where we stand, Regina?
Yeah, Mr. President, members of the board, superintendent. So last time we talked about the district doing potentially up to $2 million going for a mail-in ballot election in February of 2021, given the fact that you have to wait 100 days after the presidential election, November 3rd, the earliest you would be able to hold an election would be February 11th. Which is a Thursday. So typically, since the school elections are on Tuesday, you know, historically, recommendation would be if you were to go out in February, you could do a February 16th as an option. In order to do that, you would have to get resolution approved by the board at your October or November meetings to meet all the deadlines and to have all the filings in place for a February election. You don't have to hold the election necessarily in February. You can hold it in March, April, or May of this year or any other month, since it's a special mail-in ballot election. If you were to go out for November 21 general election, obviously that wouldn't cost you anything. We would get the resolutions approved probably around late spring, early summer of 21 to get things in place for that, to get you guys on the ballot there. In the event the election fails in November of 2021, you would be able to go back out to voters for a special mail-in ballot after a certain time passed. The only thing is that we would have to change the amount of the election. So for example, if you were to go out for $2 million election, November of 2021, it failed, we would have to change that amount to, let's say, 1.9 million, just because you have to change the question next time you go out for a GO election. So that's kind of, where the district is at. We're still planning for your SB 9 to be in November of 2023. So there are no changes there.
Any comments, statements from the board? Suggestions, ideas?
I think we should put it on our agenda for next month.
Right, I'll put it on, but it's something to think about between now and then. And I'll definitely put it on the agenda and to decide also whether we would go, special election or general election.
Good point. Any other questions or comments on this? I agree with Ms. Cole. We need to put it on the agenda for next month and have a real good discussion and action on it then.
Okay.
Any other statements, comments?
No, sir.
Mr. President, members of the board, so would you like for us to have the legal counsel draft a resolution for the October meeting, or would you like for us to wait and then potentially have that drafted for November meeting if you were to decide to go out for February election?
My personal opinion is we need to jump on it. I don't know how the other board members feel.
I say sooner the better.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, Ms. Cole. How about the other members?
I said, let's have it in October as well. The resolution, if they
Okay.
can have it for us.
Okay, good. Mr. Herrera?
I couldn't agree more. I'm like, why wait?
Exactly. Mr. Gomez?
Sorry, sir, I keep losing service. Hello?
Okay. We want to put, we're going to put this bond election on the October agenda, and we want to move on as quickly as possible so we can get it done.
Yes.
Are you in agreement?
Yes, sir, that's fine.
So are y'all thinking special election or general election?
I was thinking special election.
Okay.
Sooner the better, probably.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So there it is, Dr. Lucas. Thanks.
Okay. So we can go on and do that, Regina?
Yes, I'll notify the legal counsel, so they're gonna start drafting the election calendars and election resolutions for your October meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I'll email you the dates tomorrow of our next meeting. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 9, action items, Dr. Lucas.
Right. So we have a couple of changes to Title IX, and they've changed it up quite a bit. And so we have to revise our policy to reflect. But basically, it used to be the superintendent. Now I'm supposed to name a coordinator, but that would probably be me for complaints. Right now, the Title IX coordinator's Scott at the high school, because that's where most of that comes in. But in doing this and their revisions, they've, like for sex discrimination, they've kind of changed the definition and made it more difficult to prove sex discrimination. And there's already a bunch of, according to the article from, the draft of the paperwork that the service sent us, there are several lawsuits already on how severely this has impacted. They're afraid that it will reverse years of progress in equal rights and make it start going backwards. So we do have to adopt it. There are two. There's the Policy Advisory 206, equal opportunity, and then 207, non-discrimination on the basis of sex. We have to have that in our policy. I think maybe they think it may change eventually, but for the time being, we do have to adopt it.
We need to adopt it tonight though, right?
Yes.
Any questions or comments, board? We'll go, I'll accept the motion. Everest 206, non-discrimination, equal opportunity. As written.
I'll make that motion. This is Susie.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Motion by Ms. Cole. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Gomez. Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Ms. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Esquivel?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Yes, sir.
and myself, aye. Motion carries. I'll accept the motion on policy advisory 207 on discrimination on the basis of sex as written. Be added onto our policies. Is there a motion?
This is Susie. I'll make the motion to accept 207.
Motion by Ms. Cole. Is there a second?
This is Esquivel. Second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Esquivel. Second by Ms. Esquivel. Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
Ms. Esquivel,
Aye.
Ms. Cole,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera.
Aye.
And myself, aye. Motion carries. With all business taken care of, this meeting is adjourned. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for all your help and support. Administrators, thank you for the detailed reports again. I appreciate all the info. And if there's any questions or comments from the board for the administrators, give them a call or visit them. Good communication is good. It's great for everybody. I thank you. Everybody be safe. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.